Salome's faithfulness. Most people have never heard of the woman named Salome in the Bible, but she was one of the most faithful women who followed Jesus. She followed him when he was performing miracles. She followed him when he was teaching. And she even followed him when he was suffering on the cross. Salome did not run away when things became hard. She stayed faithful until the very end. Who was Salome? Salome was a woman who followed Jesus and supported his ministry. The Bible tells us that she was one of the women who helped provide for Jesus and his disciples out of her own resources. She was not just a listener. She was a helper, a supporter, and a faithful servant. Her family. Salome was also the mother of two of Jesus' disciples, James and John. These two men were part of Jesus' inner circle and were very close to him. Salome was a mother who raised her sons to follow Jesus, and they became important disciples who helped spread the gospel to the world. A mother who believed. Salome believed in Jesus. She believed in his message, and she believed in his mission. She did not just send her sons to follow Jesus, she followed Jesus too. She traveled with the group of followers and supported the ministry with the other women. Following Jesus. In the book of Mark, the Bible tells us that many women followed Jesus and cared for his needs. Salome was one of these women. She served quietly, not for attention, not for praise, but because she loved Jesus and believed in him. The difficult day. Then one of the most painful days in history came, the day Jesus was crucified. Many people who had followed Jesus became afraid and ran away. The disciples were afraid. The crowds turned against him. Everything seemed lost. She stayed, but Salome did not run away. She stayed. She stood near the cross and watched as Jesus suffered and died. Imagine how painful that must have been. The man she believed in, the man she followed, was dying before her eyes. Yet she remained faithful. Faithful in suffering. Salome teaches us something very important. It is easy to follow when things are going well, but it is not easy to follow when things are painful, confusing, and heartbreaking. Salome was faithful not only in good times, but also in the worst times. The tomb. After Jesus died, Salome did something very brave and very loving. She went to the tomb where Jesus' body had been placed. She went early in the morning with other women to anoint his body with spices, which was a sign of love and respect. The surprise. When Salome and the other women arrived at the tomb, they discovered something shocking. The stone had been rolled away. The tomb was empty. Jesus was not there. An angel told them, "He is risen. He is not here." Faith rewarded. Salome was one of the first people to hear that Jesus had risen from the dead. Think about that. The woman who stayed faithful at the cross was also there at the empty tomb. God honored her faithfulness by allowing her to witness one of the greatest moments in history. Lesson 1. The first lesson we learn from Salome is this: faithfulness is very important. God sees those who serve him quietly. Even when no one else notices, God notices. Lesson 2. The second lesson we learn is this: stay faithful even when things are hard. Anyone can follow when life is easy, but faithful people follow even when life is difficult. Lesson 3. The third lesson we learn is this: God rewards faithfulness. Salome stayed at the cross, and she was there at the empty tomb. She saw the sorrow, but she also saw the miracle. Scripture. The Bible mentions Salome in Mark chapter 15 verse 40, Mark chapter 16 verse 1, Matthew chapter 27 verse 56. These verses remind us that Salome was there. She was faithful, and she followed Jesus to the very end.